Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, haqqa hamdihi wa salatu wa salamu ala ashraf al-mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahu al-yawmiddin. We start by praising Allah Ta'ala as it is right to be praised. And we ask for His peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the mercy to all of mankind, rather into all of creation, the one who was sent to us by Allah Ta'ala as a guide, as a light, the son of all guidance. There is no guidance in this world, nothing that comes in this world that benefits humanity, except that if you trace that ray of light, it would go back to the Prophet of God, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're celebrating, commemorating his birth and his coming into the world in this blessed month. We ask Allah to bless him and for his salawat upon him, for himself and for his family, his companions, his forefathers and brethren in prophecy, all those who follow in his footsteps of love and sincerity. May Allah make us amongst them. Ameen. As we sit here tonight, reminding ourselves and practicing what the blessed of the past and the pious of the past have done for generations, which is to commemorate and to remember the coming of the Prophet ﷺ into this world in this blessed month. This blessed month of Rabi'ul Awwal, which is when the Prophet ﷺ, according to the most sound of narrations, was born on the 12th of. It was also the same month that he passed away in, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we are an ummah that celebrates happiness. We are an ummah that is optimistic. We are an ummah that is positive. So we celebrate his coming into the world. We celebrate our introduction to the Prophet ﷺ in this blessed month, as has been celebrated before us by many, many generations of scholars and pious and people and men and women of God. And so we sit here tonight, as many others have done for hundreds of years, and remember the Prophet of Allah Ta'ala, and remember just how important he is to all of our lives. Just how important he is to all of our lives. It was said of Imam al-Shafi'i by his student Ahmad bin Hanbal. Imam al-Shafi'i, one of the greatest scholars of Islam, an imam who the Prophet ﷺ foretold the coming of. He said in a hadith, he said, a scholar will come of Quraysh, his knowledge will fill the lands. And the one who the people of knowledge say, that scholar he's talking about is Imam al-Shafi'i, because he is one of the few scholars whose knowledge actually filled the land, who was from Qurayshi lineage. So his student Ahmad bin Hanbal said of him, he said, "Ash-Shafi'i ka-shamsu lid-dunya wal-afi lil-abdan." He said, Shafi'i is like the sun for the world and health and wellness for your body. He is like the sun for the world. How much does the world need the sun? The plants, the animals, life itself cannot even exist if it was not for the sun. The human body cannot even be alive and be sustained if it is not for wellness. So Ahmad bin Hanbal says of this inheritor, the Prophet ﷺ, who spread the world, whose knowledge filled the world, who was a man so pious. In his piety, there are books written and volumes written about his worship and how he was with Allah Ta'ala. It was this man, his student said of him, he is like the sun for the world, and he is like how wellness for your body. Meaning, we cannot live and survive without the likes of Imam al-Shafi'i. This is what he said about an inheritor of the Prophet ﷺ, who wasn't even a tabi'i or a companion. So what about the Prophet ﷺ? How much do we need this man in our lives? Where would we be as human beings if it was not for the Prophet ﷺ? We would be people lost and confused on the face of the earth, chasing each other, fighting each other for dunya, like the way that dogs fight over a bone. One of the greatest scholars of Hadramaut, he said in a poem, "Huwa nur yahdil ha'irina diya'uhu." He is light whose rays guide those who are confused. Who is he talking about? He's talking about the Prophet ﷺ. He's talking about the Prophet ﷺ. He's saying, Huwa nur. He is light. He's a guiding light. Yahdil ha'irina diya'uhu. The confused people who are out there in the world, and that's every single one of us. The confused people out there in the world, if it was not for the rays that are reaching us from the Prophet ﷺ through his inheritors, where would we be? How would we know how to interact with this world? How would we know what to do? How would we know how to even worship Allah Ta'ala? How would we even come to know Allah Ta'ala if it was not for the Prophet ﷺ? And so our need for the Prophet ﷺ is no different than our need for water or air or food or the sun that lights the world in daytime. He is very, very crucial to our existence. If it was not for the Prophet ﷺ, then we must recognize where would we be? We'd wake up resurrected on the day of judgment, destined for the fire. We live in this world unknown there is a Lord who is ready to shower us with His mercy and love if all we were to do was to rectify our behavior and stay away from certain things and do certain things. If it was not for Him, an eternity of bliss would be lost. If it was not for Him, we'd be living in this world doing things that would harm us spiritually and physically, completely lost. Huwa nur yahdil ha'irina diyahu. And so, our celebration of Rabiul Awwal year after year is a recognition of that. It is a recognition of our need for the Prophet ﷺ. It is a recognition of our need for him, just as how we recognize we need water, we need food, we need air to survive. We need the Prophet ﷺ to live in this world and to survive spiritually and attain felicity in the next one. And for that very reason, the poet, the one who comprised this poem that we read every night or every week, what does he say? وَرَأَتْ كَمَا قَدْ جَاءَ مَا عَلِمَتْ بِهِ أَنَّ الْمُهَيْمِنَ شَرَّفَ الْأَكْوَانَ. And she saw in a vision, the Prophet ﷺ's mother, as is narrated, what she had come to know, that the guardian, and Allah, had honored the universe. بِالطُّهْرِ مَنْ فِي بَطْنِهَا فَاسْتَبْشَرَتْ وَدَنَا الْمَخَاضُ فَأُتْرِعَتْ رِضْوَانًا. Through the pure one who was in her womb, so she rejoiced. As the time for labor drew near, and she was filled with happiness. وَتَجَلَّتِ الْأَنْوَارُ مِنْ كُلِّ الْجِهَاتِ فَوَقْتُ مِيلَادِ الْمُشَفَّعِ هَانَ. The lights emanated from all directions, for the moment of birth of the one giving intercession had come. وَقُبَيْلَ فَجْرٍ أَبْرَزَتْ شَمْسَ الْهُدَى ظَهَرَ الْحَبِيبُ مُكَرَّمًا وَمُصَانًا. And shortly before the dawn, before the sun that we know is the one that gives us sustenance and gives us life through the will of God. She says, before the dawn, he says that before the dawn, the sun of guidance was made manifest. The sun that we really need to really be human became manifest and came into this world. The beloved appeared, honored, and protected. He came to this world as the sun of guidance. And every single ray from that sun, every single ray from that sun is still here in the world, traveling all over the place through his inheritors. All we have to do is expose ourselves to the right people, open our hearts to them, these men and women of God, these inheritors of him, and let those rays shine in our hearts. Let those purifying individuals who have taken from purifying individuals, all the way to the Prophet ﷺ, let them into our lives, let them, our hearts, open our hearts to them, and let them fill our cups with the light from the rays of the Prophet ﷺ. So we ask Allah Ta'ala to make us people of tawfiq, to make this month of Rabiul Awwal a blessed one of openings for all of us personally and communally and for the entire ummah. That He takes care of all of our needs, whether they are personal, familial, or communal. He guides all of our family members who are not Muslim to Islam, all of our family members who are perhaps heedless to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Makes us people of Iman, Islam, Ihsan, and Irfan. Makes us people of Siyam, Qiyam, Quran. And Allah Ta'ala makes us keys to the doors of all good and locks the doors of all evil, that He takes care of all of our needs. We ask that for ourselves, everyone who is listening, in attendance, everyone in our loins that have yet to be born, and to everyone who will come, inshaAllah Ta'ala, and listen to this. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.